Handley coming to you with 100,000 watts of pure, healing, miracle-working love. I want to talk to you today. I want to continue our session on There's More Than Artificial Intelligence. This is part 2 of the series. I'll give you some quick AI news today like I did last time. Here's one. AI doesn't wait for tomorrow. It creates tomorrow. Tomorrow is here today. Here's another one. Artificial intelligence helps track down alien life. And here's another one that's been out really for months. China is using facial recognition to find jaywalkers, and they refer to them as bad people. And they banned some of them from foreign travel, just taking their passports. Now, those are just a few things that are in the news today, but AI is used for a lot of good things. And my purpose in the series is to show you what you're not hearing in the news, because AI can be used for good things, and it can be used for a lot of bad things. And as one well-known entrepreneur and writer says, it's a demon. So my job is to show you what to be aware of. I want you to remember that in the last session we discussed computer scientist Bill Joy and many other writers have identified cluster groups of technological advances that they esteem critical to the future of humanity. Notice those words, critical to the future of humanity. That's you and that's me. Amazing what we're studying, that so much we read is really referring to you and to me and our families. Joy warns that these advances have potential to be used by elites for either good or evil. For example, when superhumans become enhanced to a stage where the ordinary normal human, again that's you and me, is no longer relevant other than for slave activities, then genocide, mass destruction of the normal humans will become efficient in terms of global governance. By the way, you might want to go to the University of Excellence website. You'll see a link for that in the show notes of the podcast. Click on the top One World, go down the submenu to Global Governance. Now I want to give you an introduction to this session, part 2. Remember, overall, we're talking about that there's more than artificial intelligence. This is part 2. But today we're talking about genetic alteration or modification. Remember, we studied GRIN, G-R-I-N, and G stands for genetic alteration or modification. R for robotics, and we will cover that in detail in the next session. I for information technology, N for nanotechnology. So if you survived after part 1, our previous session, I have another challenge for you. Let's see if you're up to it. This session, we will discuss genetic alteration or modification. Have you ever wished or even prayed that one of your relatives would be nicer or just different? Well, with what we're studying today, all you have to do is modify the cell structure in the embryo. Well, I guess we'll just have to work on future relatives. Too late to change the past ones. However, prayer will probably work on the current ones. Don't give up on that, by the way. Eugenics is the science and practice of selective human breeding. In the late 1800s, eugenics came into being for the purpose of improving the quality of the human race. And this was to be implemented by discouraging reproduction by persons having genetic defects or inheritable undesirable traits, and encouraging reproduction by the persons presumed to have inheritable desirable traits. Well, this theory became popular in the early 20th century, but it's no longer outwardly taken seriously due to the horrific practices of racial hygiene experiments by the Nazis in Germany. So we can ask the question, any progress since then? There's a new form of eugenics, not only being espoused but heavily financed in research to create superhumans via genetic modification of human genes in eggs, sperm, and early-stage embryos. Because of the modification of the cell structure in the embryo, subsequent generations will inherit these modifications, and with no resetting the process. Well, what does that mean? No resetting? That means subsequent generations will inherit these modifications up the line. Hope the designers don't screw up. Does this mean the strong or smart, or let me rephrase that, newer people are not all human? Wait, I will reveal something about that in another session. This new form is known as genetic engineering. Genetic engineering is a biotechnological application where the DNA or genes of organisms are manipulated according to the requirement or the goal. You probably are wondering right now if what you're hearing about is mere conjecture. Well, listen to the title of this report from the U.S. government, sponsored by the National Science Foundation and the U.S. Department of Commerce, titled Converging Technologies for Improving Human Performance. This report includes such items as brain-machine interfacing, that's BMI, and we will cover that later in another session in this series. In relation to that report I just mentioned, the acronym NBIC was introduced into public discourse in 2014. What does NBIC stand for? N is nanotechnology, B is biotechnology, I is information technology, and C is cognitive science. Cognitive science is used as the most popular term for emerging and converging technologies. Cognitive science is the study of thought, learning, and mental organization, which draws on aspects of psychology, linguistics, philosophy, and computer modeling. Cognitive scientists study intelligence and behavior, with a focus on how the nervous systems represent, process, and transform information. I have a question for you. How do you think that this brain-nerve organic synergy will partner with changing or enhancing humans by modifying their reproductive cells? Now let me ask you some ethical and moral questions. Human enhancement or germline engineering involves making improvements in reproductive cells. These changes will be passed on to subsequent generations. This presents valid bioethics and moral questions. Number one, what happens when enhanced humans become dominant in numbers, influence, or power? Number two, what happens to the normal, non-enhanced humans? That, again, would be you and me. Number three, will normal, non-enhanced humans, again, that's you and me, become victims of genocide? Or will we just be mere slaves or servants, an inferior breed? Number four, will enhanced humans automatically receive the mark of the beast? By the way, where does the Antichrist, the beast, who is the false Messiah, where does he fit in? Check this out. The Antichrist, the beast of Revelation, the false Messiah, would love to use AI to create modified humans to obey him and help rule the world, to use superhumans to control you, and a bunch of otherworldly junk, way worse than I just mentioned, and we're going to discuss those in a later session. So, my friend, hang on. Next time, we're going to spend more time on what you really want to see happen. Robots that will be smarter than you. How will you defend yourself? And don't think about kissing them, because they may have virtual memory and deposit a mysterious substance into your body. Well, so much for this session. And again, I hope you enjoy your dinner tonight. This has been your friend, Prince of Podcasting, Prince Handley, coming to you with the blessings of God Almighty. May Jesus, the Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach, invade every area of your life with blessing, prosperity, wholeness, healing, and success. Baruch haba b'Shem Adonai.